Good morning, everyone, and I am delighted to welcome you all to Scotland's Future Minds, an event designed to inspire young minds in Scotland in areas of STEM. This event today has been created by myself and the team at Tree of Knowledge in partnership with eSchool as we continue our mission to inspire the world. Right now, thousands of pupils in classrooms across the country are joining us for something very special as we explore all areas of STEM and mindset. We're going to try and show you that STEM is something we can all enjoy and that STEM is for everyone. Yes, even you. It's so important that we get that message across. It's so important for all the pupils in Scotland to hear. As you see, you watching today in your classroom, you're the future minds. Today we might have a pupil who in 15 years' time invents a flying car, finds a cure for a common illness. Maybe you're going to help in the fight against climate change. Or maybe we'll have a pupil who can fix my car. I actually need my car to be fixed, so if any of you could fast track those skills, I would actually really appreciate that. And see the person who does that thing in the future, well, that might be you. It could be any one of you. And today I want to show you why I believe that and why you should too. But before we get properly started in today's event, I know there's one question that you're all hoping we'll answer. The big question. So let's start there. Because I know every single one of you watching is thinking, if this is an event all about STEM, does that mean someone's going to put a load of Mentos into a bottle of Coke? And yes, we are. But before we do, here's a quick prediction for you all. What will happen when we put 20 Mentos into one bottle of Coke? Will it A, do nothing, B, go everywhere, or C, just bubble up a little bit? Well, let's find out. We have 20 Mentos and one bottle of Coke. I wonder what will happen. You ready? You ready to run? Yes! Okay, that definitely went everywhere, and that is the big question out of the way. In fact, another theme of today is curiosity. And can I tell you what I'm always curious about? I've always wondered, what would happen if you put 20 Mentos into a bottle of Iron Brew? Now, seeing as we're in Scotland and this is Scotland Future Minds, well, we couldn't miss this opportunity to find out. So let's see what happens. Will it A, do nothing, B, bubble a little where, C, go everywhere, or D, will the Iron Brew leap majestically into the air and overhead kick the ball in the net like Scott McTominay and send us all to the World Cup? Let's find out. Let's kick Scotland's Future Minds off with a bang, with a 2-litre bottle of Iron Brew and 20 Mentos. Are you ready, Brody? Let's give this a go. Go. Whoa! Way! Amazing. It definitely went everywhere. And thank you to Brody from St. Clair's Primary for his help in that experiment. Brody was so curious about the experiment that after it had finished, he definitely tasted Iron Brew and Coke to see what they tasted like. Would you believe at one point, I was going to put a Mentos in for every school that had signed up in Scotland. But last night we were at 600 schools, which would mean 600 Mentos. Now you get 14 Mentos in every tube and you get 5 tubes in a pack. And the pack of 5, well, Asda that costs £1.70 and I would need to buy 9 packs, which means it would cost me a grand total of £15.30. Hang on. That's actually a lot less than I expected. Next year. Now, before we go on much further, I should properly introduce myself. My name's Andrew, and I work for Tree of Knowledge. Before I worked at Tree of Knowledge, I used to be an actor. I used to perform on the stage. I was actually in a play, you might have heard of it. It was called Horrid Henry, live and horrid. I was not Horrid Henry. I was his very sporty friend, Aerobic Al. I was also a killer boy rat, and I was a dog. I crawled about the stage as a dog. It was while I was crawling about the stage, I thought I might change career here. And I retrained and became a primary school teacher. And it was whilst teaching primary schools that I realised and rekindled my love for STEM. And that's why I decided to create this event today. But I cannot host it all on my own. So joining me is an absolutely fantastic co-host and a real-life STEM superhero. You see, my co-host today is actually a second-year student studying chemical engineering at Strathclyde University. So please welcome Emily. Emily, how are you?
Oh, I'm
It's so nice to have you here, Emily. Emily, chemical engineering, that sounds incredible. What does it involve?
well, I like to describe it as turning nothing into something. So starting with raw materials and chemicals and turning them into things we can use in our everyday lives. So I'll use like maths, physics, biology, and of course chemistry to solve problems, create medicines, plastics, food, and all whilst trying to work as sustainably as possible.
Amazing. Now, before we get started, I've got three quick questions for you. Which primary school did you go to?
I went to Netherley Primary and I think that we were due to have a couple classes from there today, so shout out to yous.
Emily, where are you now and which schools are near you?
Well, now I stay in the west end of Glasgow. Some primary schools near me are Hillhead, Oak Grove, Garnet Bank, and St Joseph's Primary.
Hello to all those schools. And Emily, did you have or do you have a favourite STEM fact?
Well, I found this one out recently. It's a bit silly, but I thought it was fun. I heard that the astronauts on the International Space Station sometimes get defying gravity from Wicked as the alarm clock to wake them up in the morning.
Yes, I hope that's true. That'd be amazing.
So cool.
Thank you so much, Emily. And helping Emily and I out behind the scenes, pushing all the buttons, we have Luke. Luke, good morning. Luke is also very talented and skilled in all areas of STEM. Luke is a really skilled videographer and he's going to be in charge of lots of the videos in the session today. Luke, three quick questions. Which primary school did you go to?
I went to Woodcote Primary School in London.
Luke, where are you now and which school's close to you?
I'm in Preston in Lancashire at the moment, and my nearest primary school is Middlefirth Primary School, where my two daughters go to.
Oh, brilliant. And Luke, do you have a favourite STEM fact?
I certainly do. In a class of 23 people, there is a 50% chance that two of you have the same birthday. And if there's 30 people in your class, then you have a 70% chance that two of you have the same birthday.
That's incredible. I don't know how that math works. That's brilliant, which means in your classes today, there'll be lots of people sharing birthdays. My birthday's March the 31st. There must be at least one person watching who's got a birthday coming up in a couple of weeks. Thank you, Luke. Thank you, Emily. Now, Emily, I think we should put your co-hosting to the test. Why don't you tell everyone what they can expect in the next hour?
Thank you, Andrew. So today we're going to explore something really important, STEM. When people hear the word STEM, they sometimes imagine laboratories, complicated equations, or people in white coats. But the truth is, STEM is so much more than that. And STEM is not just for a few people. STEM's for everyone. It's for people who are curious about how things work. It's for people who like coming up with ideas. For people who ask questions, try things out, and sometimes get things wrong, but they try again. It's for people like you. And over the next hour, we're going to see that in action. We'll bust a few STEM myths, visit some brilliant schools across Scotland, meet people doing fascinating STEM jobs, and discover just how many places STEM shows up in everyday life. And if your class is watching today, we'd love you to get involved. Take a quick selfie of your classroom watching the event and share it using hashtag TalkSTEM so we can see schools joining in from all across Scotland. All that information will be scrolling along the bottom of the screen, so get yourself involved. But before we go any further, we should probably answer the most important question of all.
How many Mentos can you get for £50?
No, the question is, what actually is STEM? Well, who better to explain it than the STEM team at Education Scotland? Let's take a look.
What is STEM? I think STEM is like a superpower that helps us solve real-world problems. STEM stands for Science, Technology, Engineering and Maths. STEM isn't just learning facts in school, it's about exploring, experimenting, being curious and creative. Many of you will already be using STEM skills every day. When you figure out how something works, solve a tricky problem, or work as a team to build something, that's STEM in action. Here in Scotland, there are amazing opportunities in areas like renewable energy, medicine, gaming and robotics. When you grow up, many of the jobs you could choose will need people who can use their STEM skills to think creatively and solve problems. But you don't have to wait until you're an adult to get started. You could try a mini science investigation at home or take part in a maths challenge. You could become a young STEM leader or learn to code. You might even want to help your teacher apply for the STEM Nation Award on behalf of your school. Our team at Education Scotland run this programme for all schools, nurseries and youth groups across Scotland. We want to inspire pupils and teachers to become STEM leaders, encourage families to learn together, help STEM professionals to work more closely with schools, and make sure that all learners from all backgrounds find a place for themselves in STEM.
Thank you. So STEM stands for science, technology, engineering and maths, 4 areas of the curriculum that teach us so many skills that we can all use as we grow up.
That's right. STEM can help us develop skills like critical thinking, problem solving, creativity and curiosity. And these skills will be useful in so many ways and in so many jobs when you're older. Some of these jobs may really surprise you.
So what we've tried to do is put together something called a STEM Careers A to Z. We're going to explore a range of STEM jobs all the way from A to you get what we're doing. Now, you might think that for A, we would start with an astronaut or an architect or an app developer, but we're going to start somewhere that might surprise you. You see, STEM is involved in so many jobs. So we thought, well, why not start with an author? If you're thinking, what does STEM have to do with writing a book? Well, let's find out.
My name is Gavin Oates, I am an author and this is my A to Z of writing a book through STEM. A, algorithm, every book has a pattern. B, blueprint, you need a plan. C, curiosity, that my friends is the fuel. D, data, it's loads of research. E, engineering, you're building a story, you're not just writing one. F, failure, draft one is meant to be rubbish. G, gravity, you've got to think about what pulls the reader back in. H, hypothesis, every chapter starts with what if. I, iteration, edit, then edit better. J, joinery, ideas must connect. K, kinetics, pace matters. L, logic, even creativity needs structure. M, mechanics, sentences matter. N, navigation, guide the reader. O, observation, writer's notice, everything. P, prototype, your first draft is basically just an experiment. Q, questions, great books, ask them. R, revision, that's where the magic happens. S, systems, routine beats inspiration. T, technology, capture ideas everywhere. U, user experiences, it's about the reader. V, variables, characters, tone, structure. W, wonder, that's the other magic bit. X, X factor, sure voice. Y, yield, that's the finished book. And Z, 0 to 1, you made something that didn't actually exist before. Whew, turns out writing a book isn't just art, it's STEM.
Yes, I love that video, Gavin. Thank you so much. A is for author, and I think Z's for zoom. I love Gav's camera. It's so close. It's brilliant. It's amazing. Gav is actually the most incredible author, and he works here at Tree of Knowledge too. Gavin's not just a brilliant author, he's also a brilliant host. And later the year, he'll be hosting our Primary 7 event, We're After the Big School. We'll tell you a little bit more about that later.
Now, Gavin touched on a couple of really important points there. STEM is everywhere, but this event is not just about STEM, it's also about something else really important: mindset. Mindset is the way we think about ourselves. It's the stories we tell ourselves about what we can't do and what we think we can't do. And in STEM, mindset is incredibly important because sometimes before pupils even try something, they've already decided, I can't do that. So before we go any further, let's hear from Tree of Knowledge's very own psychologist of mindset.
Hey guys, I'm Alice and I'm a psychologist, which means I'm really interested in how your mind works and how your brain processes the way that we learn stuff. When it comes to STEM, quite often people think they're either good at it or they're not. But the thing is, your brain hasn't actually finished developing yet, so it doesn't really know if you're good at something or not. What you are developing at the moment though is a mindset that's either going to help you or hinder you as you go through school. So I want you to have a think about how you feel about some of the subjects that you find trickier. When you find something really hard, do you go, cool, this is a challenge, let's crack on and see how we get on with it? Or do you freak out and panic a little bit and suddenly decide that it's too hard and that you can't do it? If it's that second one, what's starting to happen is your brain is forming a habit which is holding you back. So it's time to start addressing those mindsets, and remember, just because something's hard doesn't mean you can't do it. What we want to think about is how our mindset is going to help us flourish or thrive in whatever it is we're doing.
Now, thank you, Alice. Alice spoke in her video about mindset, the way we think about ourselves and the way we think about the subjects that we study in school. Now, you might have heard the term mindset before. Quite often we talk about two different types of mindset, fixed and growth. If you approach a subject in school with a fixed mindset, you might believe that you're either good at it or you're not. You might think you were born good at it, or if you were going to be good at it, you already would be. If you have a fixed mindset, you might also feel that your abilities are something that you cannot really change. Now, because of that, when something feels difficult, you might say things like, I'm just not a maths person, or I'm not good at science. And if you think that way, you might stop trying because you believe you'll never improve. But there's another way of thinking about ourselves. There's another way of thinking about STEM, and that's called a growth mindset. A growth mindset means understanding that abilities can develop over time. We can get better at stuff. And when something feels new or tricky, it doesn't mean you can't do it. Practice, effort, asking questions, and learning from your mistakes will all help your brain grow stronger.
I totally agree, Andrew. Actually, I learned a lot about the importance of having a growth mindset back when I went to Netherley. You see, even though I study engineering now, maths wasn't always something I felt the most confident in. I would be embarrassed to make mistakes during maths lessons. So instead of trying to understand, I'd just give up. And that's when my teacher told me something really important. He told me about the word yet. Now that might sound silly, but stay with me. So when learning, you won't always understand things on your first try. So you have to say to yourself, I just can't do it yet, or I don't understand this yet. You have to give yourself the chance to learn. Believe that if you're willing to work hard, ask for help, and make mistakes, then one day you'll get there. You just can't do it yet.
So what you're saying is I can't put 600 Mentos in a bottle of Coke yet. Emily, I love that. Talking about maths and talking about mindset, let's hear our first Mythbuster today, which comes from Emmett from Kirkcaldy West Primary School.
Have you heard? I can't believe they. I'm worried that can't be true. Mythbusters!
Hi, my name is Emmett and I am primary 6. I really enjoy STEM at school, especially maths, because I like solving tricky problems. Sometimes when people get things wrong in maths, they think it just means they're not good at it. Is getting things wrong in maths actually a bad thing?
And here we have Grace from Bigenio with her answer.
When I was 10 years old, my father supported me and he made maths fun and creative for me. He turned me from an average C student with mathematical anxiety to an A student just by making maths fun and creative. Then I got into secondary school. It was the end of the first year and it was prize giving day. And then they called out the name of the person who won the maths prize out of over 350 students. You would never believe that was me. I was not supposed to be one of the maths people. I was not a maths person. I had mathematical anxiety, for crying out loud. I then realized after I won the maths prize, I realized that actually there's no such thing as a maths person. And that maths is only really a skill. And any skill just needs deliberate practice with the right guidance. This increased my confidence and let me know that I had to get things wrong to understand where I got them wrong, to begin to get them right and begin to build my confidence. It's about trying over and over again and not giving up. Getting help when you need it, like I got from my dad. You can get help from your teacher, you can get help from your parents, you can get help from siblings, anyone that would help you. Don't worry if you're getting things wrong in maths. That's part of it. That's how it works.
And that's another myth busted.
I love seeing pupils on screen asking questions, so let's have some more. A few weeks ago, we visited St. Luke's High School in Barrhead. At St. Luke's, they have a group of pupils called Young STEM Leaders. These Young STEM Leaders are amazing. Their S1 pupils will help support learners across the school with STEM activities. We wanted to find out more about the great work they do, because some of you watching today might want to become young STEM leaders in the future.
My name is Daha.
My name is Harry.
My name's Adam, and I'm a young STEM leader from St. Luke's High School. STEM is really fun because you're like playing with fire. You get to do cool experiments.
So cool, I got to hold a bit of Mars, a bit of rock from the Mars planet.
You learn about the periodic table. You use different types of chemicals to create different colors.
We hooked them up like mad scientists, and we tested to see if it was a conductor or an insulator.
We made like a bird feeder and tech. We were using like a pillar drill, hammers, there's like saws as well we used.
Our group of STEM leaders have been building like a place to live on a different planet. At lunchtime we chip in to try and make it better and better, and then at the end we go and present it to Leidos. Even if you're unsure of trying to be a STEM leader, you should go for it, have fun, enjoy it.
Give it an opportunity. You never know, because there's a lot more equipment in primary school.
So you might be good at building stuff like birdhouses and keychains, stuff like that. Or you might be good at coding and like creating your own games. Or you might be good at science in general.
It's a thing everyone could do. There's no certain skill to it. Everyone could chip in. Like, there's engineering, you'll need creativity. There's math, you'd probably need critical thinking. All of that, everyone can chip in and do their part for science and for STEM.
I love that. They are so inspirational. There are thousands of young STEM leaders in schools across the country, and if your school wants to find out more about the support and qualifications available, scan this QR code. If they can be young STEM leaders, then so can you.
Amazing. A huge thank you to Harry, Adam and Dara at St. Luke's High School, and for the teachers for letting us come in and speak to them. Right, Emily, back to our A to Z's of jobs. I have a few more for you. So we've had A for author, but we could have B for biologist, and then a chemist, a data scientist, an engineer, a forensic scientist, a games developer, a hydrologist, an inventor, a jet propulsion engineer, a kinesiologist, a lab technician, a magician.
A what? A magician?
Yeah, a magician. Emily, we have a friend at Tree of Knowledge called Kevin Quantum, and he is a magician who uses his background in physics and STEM for his stage show. And this stage show has toured the world. He's even performed on Britain's Got Talent. His act is built around the skills, talent, and the curiosity that he developed through STEM. Over to you, Kevin.
Hi everyone, my name is Kevin Quantum. I am a magician, and this is a hammer, and this is a flamingo, and I love STEM, or as we like to call it in my world, STEAM. We like to put an extra A in there to represent the arts, because as I've already said, I am a magician. I like to build really cool, amazing props. Many of them are inspired by science. Do check them out on YouTube. But for now, I'm going to do an interactive, an engaging stunt that if you pay attention closely, you will be able to work out. What I'd like you to do for me is hold your hand up in the air like this for me. Everyone do that now. Just hold your hand up. Just stretch it up nice and high. That's it, come on. Perfect. All right, and I want you to choose a finger for me. Now, normally when I ask that question, most people are going to go for one of these three fingers here. So eliminate those. Your only choices are pinky or thumb. Choose one of those now for me. Great. Now, in a moment, I'm going to say move one. And depending what pinky you start on, when I say move one, you're going to move from one finger to the next. So say, for example, you start on the thumb and I say move one. There's only really one way you can go, and that's to the first finger. But if you're on the first finger and I say move one, then you can go forward onto the middle finger, or you can go back to the thumb. I hope that makes sense. It's not that difficult. Just follow along with the instructions, and if you don't make it work, you can play the video back again. So start on the thumb, or on the pinky, and when you're ready, move one. Move one. Move one. Move one. Move one. Okay, stop on that finger. Stop on that one just now. Now, I don't think the finger that you are on is either the pinky finger or the thumb, so let's eliminate those for the time being. That gives us just three fingers left. You do the same. Move 1. Okay, I don't think you're on the ring finger anymore. That leaves us with just 2 fingers, the first finger and the middle finger. Finally, move 1. Okay. If you have ended up on the first finger, then you are not alone. Have a look around. In fact, that is the finger that I predicted before I even started recording this video. Hopefully you manage that. Hopefully if you think about it, you'll be able to work out how it's done. My name is Kevin Quantum. I wish you all the very best in your endeavours. Take it easy and good night.
How has he done that?
I have no idea, but I've got the finger.
That's incredible. Thank you, Kevin.
Well, now, Andrew, you've taken us all the way from A to M, so I think it's only fair that I take N, because I know an amazing young person called Vary McCann, who's actually Scotland's first National Geographic Young Explorer.
That sounds amazing.
It totally is. And Vary is also the founder and CEO of Youth STEM 2030, a social enterprise working to empower young people around the world to become STEM changemakers for a more just and sustainable future. Through their programs, they've already supported over 2,500 young people in more than 80 countries. And for her work empowering young people in STEM, Vary has won the Young Scot Environment Award. And I'm delighted to welcome Vary today to answer a few questions. Welcome, Vary.
Hi, Emily. Hi, everyone.
Hi there, how are you doing?
I'm good. I'm really glad to be here.
Amazing. So, think you could give us a little introduction about who you are and what you do?
Sure. So my job is really about helping other young people to be able to see how powerful STEM can be in tackling some of the big challenges that we have in our world. And I get to work with lots of amazing young people doing that. And use a whole range of STEM skills to do that, and also lots of entrepreneurial skills and creative skills, and even writing skills. So it's a bit of a varied job that I have, but one that I love doing, and kind
Amazing.
of being able to see the difference that people can make through STEM.
I love that. That's loads and loads of skills. Do you think you could tell us a bit about your work with Young STEM 2030?
Yeah, so Youth STEM 2030 is something that I set up because I realised that there's not an age limit on making change, and STEM's really important to being able to solve these big challenges that we do have in our world, whether that's climate change or poverty or ocean pollution. And STEM can be really important in them, but you don't need to wait until you grow up to be able to solve those problems. So we help young people, we help give them the skills, the mindset, the tools, the networks, to be able to make change right now as STEM change makers.
That is absolutely amazing. You seem really passionate about STEM for young people. So where did your love of STEM start?
So my love of STEM really started with a love of animals. Growing up, I was so into animals, nature. As a child, I had worms that I kept in my bedroom and all that kind of stuff. But then it was really when I was 17 that I kind of realised really the power of STEM. And that was through doing a project where I looked at the impact that pesticides, so that's chemicals that get used in farming, the impact that they have on these tiny marine creatures called amphipods. And actually I found that those pesticides were, they were allowed to be used, but they were having an impact on the behaviour of these tiny marine creatures, which could then have an impact in the food chain. So it was doing that project that then made me realise that I didn't need to wait until I got a job until I could start doing STEM. And actually, I wish I'd realised that a lot sooner.
That's so inspirational. Hopefully, lots of young people watching today will be inspired by that as well. Can I ask you to a little bit about being Scotland's first National Geographic Young Explorer? What are some of the projects you've done and helped other young people with?
Sure. So the National Geographic Young Explorers is an amazing group of young people around the world who are all using storytelling, science, research, and conservation to be able to make our world a better place, to restore nature, to make it better for people as well. And so through that, I was then able to get some support from them to be able to help other young people to do that too, because that's what I'm really passionate about. I love helping people. That's what gets me up in the morning. That's what drives me in the work that I do. So we've helped young people like Laura, who she's built a device that can help restore coral reefs. The Shwetica, she investigated food waste in her school. And there's Miriam and Ruth, they're twins that when they were only 7 came up with a kid-friendly mask during the pandemic because they realised that the kind of standard-sized mask didn't fit their faces, and so they came up with a kid-sized version when they were just 7. So there's really no age limit on doing STEM.
That is absolutely fantastic. Yeah, well, I guess that's like definitely hopefully have some people that age watching today. So definitely very inspiration to take from that. Can I ask, do you have any important messages about STEM that you wish you heard when you were a bit younger?
I think the most important message is really that it's about being like really curious and about finding the part of STEM that you love. Because there's some bits I don't like. I'm not super into coding. Other people are, and that's great. But I love helping people through STEM. So finding the bit of STEM that you really enjoy and using that to solve a problem that matters to you, to make the world a better place.
Amazing. Well, I guess that's part of what we're saying. Like STEM is so applicable to so many different careers. So important to find the bit that you're interested in and apply that to what you want to do in the world. Can I ask you also, is there any STEM challenge, maybe it's related to your work, that you want to set for the pupils watching today?
Definitely. So my challenge for everybody watching today is to look around you, find a problem that really bothers you. It might be something to do with litter. It might be that there's a health problem that you want to investigate. It could be something to do with your community, your school, your house. It doesn't matter what it is, but find a problem that really matters to you and see what you can find out about it and see what solutions you can come up with to it, because it's everybody making those steps forward that is then what makes STEM STEM.
Amazing. Well, I think I'm also going to challenge myself to do that. Hopefully everyone watching does. Well, I'd like to say a big thank you from us for joining us today. You've been absolutely amazing, and it's really interesting hearing about someone doing projects right now. So I think it's time for us to move on and bust another myth.
Have you heard? I can't believe they. I'm worried that can't be true. Mythbusters!
My name is Layla, and I'm in primary 6. I really enjoy STEM at school, especially maths and engineering activities, because I like building things and solving problems. But sometimes people say things like cooking or food tech are for girls and things like physics and engineering are for boys. Is this actually true, or can anyone enjoy these subjects?
And to answer that question, we have Angela Campbell, a former physics teacher and a current STEM ambassador.
The myth I want to challenge is that certain STEM subjects aren't for everybody. Used to sit and listen to parents telling me that physics wasn't for girls, and I would say, well, I'm the proof that you can succeed in physics, and everyone can. Same goes for engineering and other STEM subjects. If you enjoy it and put in the effort, you will do well. Sadly, in this area, the number of girls in physics and engineering, especially physics, is not increasing the way it is in other parts of the world. Perhaps you can be the generation that changes that.
And that's another myth busted. Emily, you know, this idea of certain jobs being for girls or boys is one that we hear a lot. But in our A to Z of STEM jobs that we've been making our way through, every single job that I've named so far is one that any pupil could do when they're older.
It's so true, Andrew. But in fact, when I was at school, some people thought that certain subjects were for boys and others were for girls. But the more I learned about STEM, the more I realised that anyone can be good at any of these subjects if they're curious and they're willing to keep trying.
Interestingly, that myth also came up when we visited Mount Camry, Ben Cameron Primary in East Kilbride. Let's have a listen to hear what they said about STEM in their school.
Hello, my students. Valtteri and I love STEM. J in STEM is Charlotte.
Gaan sy gyrra opperfjuge in stem a Charlem, or stalum sy via cruach of Jeffer written amach a fjug. Kujach stalum spike er sy'n nhw'n siors over ach, the spike sy'n good ICT no technologist mar skill in computer och a cloch. So ha torch Jeffer skill in call er sy'n opera yna.
Cwn gasgwch stem ac it.
Femi mi ra gyrra ma ahar yn gasgwch stem acum, or nyrfa mi og, chianach e tor Jeffer sets Lego gonsa, agus betulum rydyn a hokul as a Lego gymwr, agus nyrfa mi nam iegere, fa mi a gopra cola leish son rydyn a hokul amach a fiug.
Fel tor Lego ac it yn ish.
Han yl yn ish, ach ans a glas acum sa ha.
Cyssion a ha nat niach stem.
Fe mi ra ha wy fôr e clown an stem, agus stolum gyda gymwr, or she really can sporsel had the glus at the mongors the class how a toko Jeffer written how faking je how cruachug agus she did really can sporsel how really big mark cloichon and doi and acha leaving agus a sui she is agus a go for jotter.
Jane root an stem nach hel fear.
Acoustic in your urn gra han you a clownian on the stem agus Hannison nach is in fear eager. On the class acum so had on the class she is shach ha u vorach on the stem on the colonian still yo ha a via jansach mean stem a gal parson the hula root a jansach Jeffer skillen so she root gonna ha sports gonna hula dunya so can you root fear eager.
Ashton just show.
Cheery.
Again, you heard Mr. Madden state that the myth he would like to bust is that girls are not interested in STEM. At his school, he states that girls are fully engaged in STEM, learning about lots of different subjects and developing key skills. Lots of organisations work with schools to challenge this myth and to ensure all young people, especially girls, have an opportunity to thrive in STEM. One of those organisations working with schools is called Dress Code. They help schools run coding clubs, and their aim is simple: to show young people that technology and computing are for everyone. Let's take a look at their work.
My name's Olivia.
My name is Namra.
Hi, I'm Raid McKee.
Hi, I'm Ayana.
Hi, I'm Maya.
My name is Zara and I am part of Dress Code.
Dress Code is a club, but it's so much more than a club.
It's designed for girls to get more into coding and to raise awareness of the gender gap in computer science.
It's a safe space and community where young girls interested in computing science can come and explore this area where they maybe wouldn't feel so comfortable to do in a male-dominated class.
Me and 3 other of my friends wanted to make a friendship necklace, and we went up to our teacher and showed her. She said that was kind of like coding the way we put all the pieces together, which started all of this.
In school computing classes, there's like so many boys and like the girls are like there's hardly any of them there. And with Dress Code, it was that kind of safe space where it was all girls and they could talk about computing and coding and anything else together.
The challenges that come with it are really fun. There's all sorts of riddles and problem-solving tasks, and everyone's helping each other, so that's really nice.
Getting to see girls from ages of 12 up to 17 really enjoy it and get to know each other and make friendships and really build this interest in computing.
I want to invent something new to help solve a global goal, something to do with coding. Introduce Dress Code to other girls and create lots of fun for them.
In high school, I will definitely be taking computer science. If there isn't already a coding club there, I will definitely want to start one.
I'm hoping to become an astrophysicist, and now I kind of have some of those basics from learning to code here. I want to try and see where sort of computing can be used to help save the environment instead of harming it, really push forward for greener energy and greener use of technology. With Dress Code, I have the confidence to break gender barriers across all areas, and I think it's a really important message to get across, especially for the young females of today.
That is amazing. They're so inspirational. A big thank you to everyone at Dress Code and the pupils at Mearns Primary and St Ninian's High. I love the bit in the video where Zara said her goal was to introduce Dress Code to other girls. Well, we have around 14,000 people watching today. Let's assume half of them are girls. That means Zara has just helped introduce dress code to around 7,000 girls. And if your school would like to start a coding club, teachers, scan this QR code for more details.
I love the bit in the video where Olivia stated that she wanted to be an astrophysicist. An astrophysicist is a bit like a space detective who uses the rules of nature to figure out how stars and planets actually work. And I know that because I Googled it. Emily, I never even knew an astrophysicist was a job when I was at school. I didn't know it existed. I'd never heard of it.
What I love is that lots of the jobs you mentioned already today I didn't know of when I was younger, but not because I hadn't heard of them, but because they actually didn't exist yet.
What do you mean they didn't exist yet?
Well, some jobs didn't exist 10 years ago when I was a P7. When I was at primary school, nobody was an AI prompt engineer or a professional YouTuber or even an electric car mechanic.
I suppose that's true. When I was a primary 7, 10 or so years ago, when I was a primary 7, the internet didn't even exist. It hadn't been invented. But I know how to do the job I do today online, not because of the knowledge I picked up in school, but because of all the skills. Let's listen to Mr. N. Mr. N's going to tell us a little bit about jobs in the future and the skills that we'll need for them.
Hi everyone, my name is Stuart, also known as Mr. N, and I'm a primary school teacher, but I'm also someone who gets to do lots of other sciencey jobs as well. I make science videos on YouTube as STEM with Mr. N. I have written and spoken about STEM for global publications and podcasts. I do live science shows, and I spend a lot of my time helping people understand how science fits into the real world. Today, I want to talk about what that kind of job looks like and why the most exciting careers are often the ones we can't even imagine yet, so you don't need to limit what you think your future can look like. When I was at primary school, if you asked someone, what jobs can you do when you grow up? You'd probably hear answers like teacher, doctor, firefighter, or police officer. These are all great jobs, but here's something really important to know. Lots of the jobs people do today didn't exist when I was a kid. YouTube didn't exist. Being a STEM communicator wasn't really a thing people talked about. In fact, I wasn't even aware of the term STEM. And that's why I love what I do now, because it sits right at the place where science, creativity, technology, and communication all mix together. When science and technology move forward, new discoveries shake things up and new opportunities appear. Advances in science don't just change experiments, they change the world. New technology creates new problems to solve and new jobs to solve them. Think about things like designing apps, coding games, creating animations, explaining science online, or inventing sustainable energy solutions. Many of those careers didn't exist before, and many of the careers you might have one day don't exist yet either. Just like this bottle can change and then slowly return to how it started, the world keeps changing all the time. That's why one of the most important skills that you can build isn't memorizing facts, it's being curious. As a teacher, my job isn't just to teach science facts, it's to help students learn how to think like scientists, wondering why, testing ideas, learning from mistakes, and sharing what they discover. The skills you're learning today, problem solving, creativity, teamwork, curiosity, are the ones that will help you succeed in jobs that might not even have existed yet. So if there's one message I want you to remember, it's this: don't limit your horizons. You don't need to decide what your whole future looks like right now. The future is full of possibilities. And just like this experiment, sometimes all it takes is a little shake to see something amazing happen.
How has he managed to do that? How did he change the... Look, can we see that again in super slow-mo?
Shake things up.
That is amazing. I want to do that. How did he... Thank you very much, Mr. N. Now, look, whilst we have you, come into the studio for a moment. Look, how are you getting on? Is everything running okay?
Everything's running great. I'm having a look on X and Instagram and seeing lots of selfies from the classes. So don't forget to share a picture and tag #TalkSTEM.
Perfect. Look, you and I were actually really fortunate recently because we had the chance to visit Kinross High School and find out what STEM looks like there.
We did, and I loved it. And I thought everyone watching knows a little bit about STEM in primary school, but wait till you see how cool it is in high school.
Hello, we're three S3 pupils from Kinross High School and we're here to tell you about STEM in our school.
STEM takes place in various places in our school. It's here in the Technologies department. This is where we design, build and create solutions to our problems. One of my favourite things I did here in the Technologies department was making a paper gripper. We used measuring, shaping and finishing the product. Technologies show that STEM's not all about facts and formulas. It's also about creativity and bringing facts to life.
One of the places where STEM happens in our school is the science lab. This is where we ask big questions and test them out. We plan experiments, make predictions and sometimes get a really exciting result. One of my favourite things we've done here is in chemistry we were learning about the chemical reactions used. It was really interesting. In chemical reactions we learned about alkali metals, and when you put them in water they make big explosions and it's very cool to see. Sometimes the experiments don't work the first time, but then we try it again and they get a really good result. For me, STEM is about asking questions, finding the answers, and learning a lot about the STEM information. When I'm older, I might use these skills to get into a science job. It will be really helpful. This is what science in STEM looks like at Kinross High.
Another place we use STEM in our school is the home economics department. Although it's not the first thing people think of when they think of STEM, there's a lot of maths and science involved. Part of home ec is cooking, but you also need to understand what you're cooking and be able to manage your time carefully. My favourite thing we've done in home ec is making chocolate brownies. This involves weighing and measuring carefully. This lesson also focused on the sustainability of the ingredients, like we used fair trade cocoa.
I really enjoy maths, and it's not all just formulas. We do other things such as making truffle boxes by using dimensions and measurements.
When I was in primary school, I wasn't a maths person, but since we've come up to high school, I like it more because it's more practical and it turns out that I'm actually quite good at maths.
This week in maths, we've been doing algebra. Algebra is about putting different formulas into one.
You may think maths is all about adding, subtracting, multiplying, dividing, but when you're outside of school it's really helpful. The stuff you learn at high school helps you in your everyday life and when you get older.
Wow, Georgia, Daisy and Andrew, you were incredible. I think maybe after our jobs next year. I love seeing all the amazing equipment you get to use in high school. Do you know what my favourite experiment was in science? The Van de Graaff generator. It's a big metal ball with a belt spinning inside of it, and if you put your hands on it, your hair sticks straight up.
Yeah, we actually saw one of them. We were looking at that. There's a video of it. I gave it a go, Emily. Check this out. Is it working? Is my hair standing up? I think it was too humid that day. I think...
Yeah, that'll be it.
Yeah. Emily, I think it's time for us to bust another myth.
Have you heard? I can't believe they. I'm worried that can't be true. Mythbusters!
Hi, my name is Oscar and I'm in primary 6. I really enjoy STEM at school, especially science and maths, because I love asking questions and finding out how things work. But I've heard people say that you have to be really clever or super smart to work in STEM. Is that actually true, or is STEM just about being curious?
And to answer that question, we have Paul Tyler from Smart STEMs.
Hi, my name's Paul Tyler and I work at Smart STEMs, a STEM-based educational charity based in Glasgow. I was previously a STEM specialist primary school teacher, and before that I was a molecular biologist researching antibiotics. I think my favourite thing about STEM is learning new stuff and a constant realisation that there's so much to learn and I know so little. There's one particular myth that I always challenge whenever I hear it, and that's that you have to be really clever to work in STEM. And in truth, as a primary 5 pupil once told me, you don't need to be clever to be a scientist, you just need to be curious. And for me, that sums it up perfectly. Curiosity is the most important trait of everyone who works in STEM. And I want every young person to remember that. Curiosity is more valuable than intelligence every day of the week.
Amazing. Emily, Paul and I actually used to work together as primary school teachers, and he's so knowledgeable about STEM. Paul also hosts the best STEM science quizzes. In fact, there's one this afternoon. If you're looking for a fun way to spend this afternoon, primary 5 to 7s, you can maybe sign up for that STEM quiz that Paul's hosting on behalf of Smart STEMs and My Science Club. It starts at 1:45 and it's not too late to register. You can do so by scanning the QR code. Now, I also asked Paul, could he tell us his favourite STEM fact?
My favourite STEM fact, and it's a little bit gross, is about you. Well, kind of about humans in general. The average human is made up of about 37 trillion cells. Brain cells, muscle cells, blood cells, etc. But the average human has on them, or in them, about 40 trillion bacterial cells. So really, we're all just huge walking bacterial cultures.
Now, Smart STEM and My Science Club are just two organisations supporting teachers and pupils in STEM, and their websites are well worth checking out.
And teachers, if you haven't already done so, I would really encourage you to check out the RAISE website in Glow. Their aim, just like ours, is to inspire aspirations in science education. Their site's bursting with high quality resources, and you might have seen the video running as we were getting ready for the performance. So definitely give that website a good look at, and you can see what brilliant STEM support is available there. Plus, at Tree of Knowledge, we also have our Meta Skills Assembly Pack, which can be used to deliver really key messages around the skills that you need for life, learning, and work. One of our Meta Skills Assemblies is all about curiosity, and it's based around science. We want to share that one with everyone who signed up today for free. So keep a lookout for the email that will drop into your inbox at the end of the event.
And of course, alongside all those fantastic resources, there are also real people working in STEM who love sharing what they do with skills. One brilliant way pupils get to meet them is through STEM ambassadors, where volunteers from all kinds of STEM careers are available to visit schools and to inspire young people and show them what their jobs are really like. Let's meet a couple of them now.
My favorite thing about STEM is I love being able to build things or devices that will help patients recover and essentially find new ways to develop healthcare works.
I work as a data engineer in the energy and utilities industry, which is all about creating energy and getting power through cables to your homes. My favorite thing about STEM is how curious I get to be.
I'm definitely a STEM person because I have the tendency and curiosity to find how technology works.
I don't necessarily consider myself a STEM person. I know that I haven't always been interested in STEM, and that my grades at school probably made me feel like I wasn't always a great STEM person, because often you think that you need to be a genius to be good at STEM, but I work in STEM. STEM is all about being curious and investigating things. I don't think that you need to be smart to do that. I think you just need to have that mindset.
STEM is for everyone and STEM is everywhere. All you need to know is a little curiosity and some experiment. Then you'll find yourself exploring a new world.
And one thing I would like every pupil to know about STEM is that it's fun and that there is so much to explore. Just because maybe you don't like STEM at school or that you don't like certain bits of STEM doesn't mean that it's not for you.
A simple STEM experiment that everyone can do that I recently found out is if you stick your tongue out really, really far, like that, it's very difficult to swallow.
That's 100% true.
A huge thank you to our STEM ambassadors for sharing their stories with us. Isn't it amazing to think that those ambassadors started in exactly the same place as you, sitting in classrooms, learning new things, asking questions and making mistakes along the way?
I think we've mentioned it already, but mistakes are so important when you're learning. When we approach them with a growth mindset, we can learn from them. To help us think a little bit more about that idea, let's hand back quickly to our resident psychologist, Alice.
I'm meant to be in a meeting just now, but I'm not. I'm in my car. The reason I'm in my car is because the person I was meant to be meeting forgot that I was coming. Bummer. Thing is, he got really panicked and really worried and really apologetic about making a mistake. And I thought to myself, do you know what? It's fine. We make mistakes all the time. Mistakes are normal. In fact, I'm willing to bet that every single one of you has made a mistake recently. Now, some of you will have picked yourselves up and got on with it and not worried too much about it. Some of you might still be worrying about that mistake. The thing is, some of the best discoveries in STEM have come from people's mistakes. Whether it's penicillin or just working out something new and magical and incredible that's totally innovative, so often it comes from our mistakes. But sometimes we can overthink our mistakes. And if we overthink our mistakes, we forget to have fun while we're learning. So the next time you make a mistake, instead of worrying or panicking or apologising too much, just remember it's all part of the process.
That was brilliant from Alice. And as we start to come towards the end of today's event, it's probably time for us to begin
Emily,
rounding
we
up.
can't finish just yet.
Oh, why not?
Because we started our STEM careers A to Z earlier and we've only made it to end, so we've still got a few letters to get through.
All right then, let's finish what we started.
Okay, oceanographer, programmer, quantum physicist, robotics engineer, space pioneer, space planner, technologist, urban planner, veterinary scientist, wildlife biologist, x-ray specialist, YouTube creator, zoologist, and all the other jobs you can find in a zoo. There's so many of them. Now, just before we see a short video about them, teachers, before you drift away for lunch, before we end, one thing that helps us put on this event is your feedback. So whilst the video about the zoo is playing, we're going to put a QR code on the screen. If you've got 2 minutes to scan that and just fill in a quick form, that will be amazing. Over to you, Edinburgh Zoo.
Hi everyone, how are you doing? My name's Phil and I am the Discovery and Learning Manager based at Edinburgh Zoo, here for the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland.
I'm Jo Elliott and I'm the curator here for the Royal Zoological Society of Scotland, working in Edinburgh Zoo.
Hello, my name's Iona and I am the Senior Learning and Community Officer at RZSS Highland Wildlife Park. My job in STEM is all about connecting people to the wonderful world of wildlife.
Hi, I'm Lizzie and I am Interpretation and Learning Technology Manager for RZSS, which means that I spend most of my time at Edinburgh Zoo and I also work at Highland Wildlife Park.
Hi, I'm Lexi. I'm the Senior Discovery and Volunteer Officer here at Edinburgh Zoo and I work across both Edinburgh Zoo and Highland Wildlife Park. I look after all of the volunteers across both sites.
We've had some questions and I'm hoping you'd be able to help us to answer them. What do you like about science, technology, engineering and maths?
I like the challenge that it presents. I really like puzzle solving and I think of it very much in those terms. And I love to have something to work on where there really is a genuine solution. You can take some information and find a real solution to a real problem.
Cool, so problem solving, I would agree with that, definitely.
My favourite thing about STEM is that there is always something to learn. There's always more to investigate and there's always more to wonder about.
My favourite thing about STEM is that every day is an adventure. No 2 days in my job are the same. I use STEM every day in my job, from talking about the science that we do here at the zoo. Obviously there's a lot of technology involved in being a learning technologist, and there's engineering and mathematics that you might not expect.
My favourite thing is about discovery and learning. So I think figuring out what works and what doesn't and making those mistakes makes us the people that we are.
Do you have a STEM hero, somebody who works in STEM that you look up to?
My real hero was actually one of my teachers when I was at primary school. And that's what really got me into working with the natural world and in the sciences. He ran an after-school club, a naturalist club, and we went out and into nature and did all sorts of like conservation work and identifying animals, doing bug hunts and pond dips and that kind of thing.
My STEM inspiration is Jane Goodall because, like me, she didn't have a background in science. She didn't go to university to study science, but she loved animals, she wanted to learn, and she had an adventurous spirit. And that's what led her to her STEM career and all of the amazing work that she did for wildlife through her life.
Is there a myth about STEM, so science, technology, engineering or maths, that you'd like to dispel?
When I was younger, I thought science and technology, it was all about working in a lab or writing long, complicated papers. And my job is nothing like that. My job is, it's a lot out and about. There is a lot of looking at data and analysing things, but it's a lot about talking to people and communicating. So there's a lot more to science and technology than I realised.
I would agree with that. I think it's in probably every little part of my job too.
The myth about STEM that I would love to challenge is that it's only for people who are great at science in school. That could not be further from the truth. There are so many types of STEM and we need so many different types of people in the field. It is not just for people that are great at science in the classroom.
I would like to challenge the STEM myth that working in STEM is all behind a desk or in a lab. Sometimes you can be out in a zoo looking at monkeys.
When I was growing up, I believed that STEM was all about maths, and STEM doesn't just have to be about maths. Numbers are really, really important and we do absolutely need them, but it's not all about maths.
What is one thing that you think every learner should know about science, technology, engineering and maths?
I think that whether you make a career of it or not, it's such a useful skill to have, to be able to take the facts, take the evidence and draw your own conclusions. A good grounding in science and technology is so useful in any career that you go into.
One thing I would love everybody to know about STEM is that it really, really does come into our everyday lives in huge ways, like working on a computer every single day, and in teeny tiny ways. I mean, even figuring out how much change somebody's going to give you at the till. So STEM is super duper important.
I would love everybody to know the experiences that you would never expect.
If I could let everybody know one thing about STEM, it would be that it is for everybody. Everybody has something to contribute to the world of STEM. That was an amazing way to finish off our A to Z. So today we've had the chance to hear from scientists, engineers, explorers, teachers, coders, inventors, and even a magician.
And we've busted some myths about STEM, and we've seen what STEM looks like in schools across Scotland.
We've learned that STEM isn't about being the smartest person in the room, but it's about being curious and being willing to try things out, not being afraid to make mistakes and learning from them.
Now, before we finish, we just want to say a huge thank you to everyone who's helped make today possible. First of all, thank you to eSchool for partnering with Tree of Knowledge to put on today's event. In fact, we have another exciting partnership coming up soon as We're After the Big School is back for its 5th year. So primary 7 teachers who are watching, get your class registered for that. The QR code will appear and there'll be a link at the end. As well as a live event this year, we've also got a free resource pack called Big School Ready. It's got 4 amazing lessons that you can use after Easter. The link will appear on the screen and there'll be a video about it at the end.
Also, a huge thank you to all the schools who shared their brilliant STEM work with us, to our amazing guest speaker, Vary, and to all the STEM ambassadors and organisations who submitted content to support this event.
We want to say a huge thank you to the STEM team at Education Scotland. Remember to go and check out their Raise resource, and also a thank you to everyone who's encouraged and supported us to put on today's event.
We also wanted to thank Luke, not just for all the behind the scenes work today, but for creating the beautiful videos you have watched on screen.
And most importantly, thank you to every single teacher who took the time to sign up for the event, and the almost 70 of you who have already completed the feedback. That's incredible. And to all the pupils, thank you for watching us on your screen in the classrooms across Scotland.
Today has all been about one simple idea.
It's so simple that STEM is for everyone. It doesn't matter who you are or where you come from or what you think you're good at. With curiosity, effort, and the right mindset, we can all achieve great things.
And sitting in classrooms across Scotland right now are Scotland's future minds, the people who will solve problems, design new technology, protect our planet and make discoveries we haven't even imagined yet.
If we can encourage you to do one thing after the event, pupils, what we want you to remember is this. We want you to stay curious, keep trying, and remember STEM is for everyone, including you. I'm going to say that again. Stay curious, keep trying, and remember that STEM is for everyone, including you.
Thank you so much for joining us for Scotland's Future Minds.
Thank you. Goodbye.
Goodbye. Thank you.
We've got something huge happening in 2026. Introducing We're After the Big School, the biggest and most exciting transition event for every primary 7 across the country ever. Last year, in Scotland alone, we reached over 1,000 schools and more than 50,000 young people. In 2026, we're going even bigger, and everyone's invited. With live quizzes, celebrity messages, myth-busting moments, and unforgettable challenges, Pupils stay hooked from start to finish. Plus, every school receives free lessons that can be used in class or at home, supporting pupils and their families before, during and after the transition.
This is a wee bit like transitioning up to high school. You can be super excited and sometimes things can start to speed up a little bit more than you expected.
I'm a little worried that I will get lost on my way between the classes.
I promise you, we're all rooting for you.
To make sure that you ask for help if you get stuck.
Any adult in any secondary school are there to help.
Afternoon tea for two at the Gleneagles Hotel in Perthshire. Not only that, you're going to win 6 months access to Les Mills.
Hello, it's me.
Just to send you a little good luck message from me. There's so many new opportunities, you're going to meet new friends.
There's a big community around you.
And I really wish you all the best of luck.
Always shine bright.
My positive sparkles your way.
I'm rooting for you.
And I'll see you soon.
So the question is, are you in?